Good morning, I'm Chris Sloan, middle school principal here at Eastridge.
And I'm Tim Hafey, I'm principal at Eastridge.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about how things will be different and or the same as we start school in the fall. Starting the day at the middle school, you'll be doing your health screening at home. And then this is how buses and student drop-off will occur. The buses will all move to the front. As you know, if you've been there, we used to have student drop-off in the front. We're going to move that to the north lot. It's actually door number 22. So all buses will be out front. They'll drop off one bus at a time. Students will come in. Their health will be checked again. And then from there, they'll go on to their homeroom. They can grab and go breakfast as they go to their homeroom, and at that point in homeroom, they'll stay until 8 o'clock, which is a little different than what we've had.
And at Eastridge, just like all the schools, there's going to be a health screening that we want parents to do at home. It's a series of questions before the kid comes to school to make sure that the child is safe to come to school. If they're riding the bus, there will be a bus drop-off spot in the front, but we're going to have kids go in designated doors, and we want them to enter the doors that are closest to their first period class, so they'll be given directions and they'll be labeled, so they'll know which way to go, and after the first day they'll know which ones to go to. And then they're to go to their first period class unless they're getting breakfast. If they're getting breakfast, then they will go to the cafeteria, pick up, and then go to their first period class, and they'll be eating in that classroom. Nobody will be eating in the cafeteria before school. It's just grab and go. If you're dropping off your child from your car, you're to use the large parking lot on the side of the school where the large flagpole is. There'll be 2 doors to enter through there, and we'll give directions, and it'll be the main hallway door or the athletic doors. And somebody will be out front the first couple days to direct people, and then there'll be once again health screening when they come in, and they grab their breakfast if they're getting it from the cafeteria and then go to their first period class. So students should not be wandering the halls when they come in. They are to go to their first period classes and eat there if they're going to eat, or wait for their teachers to start.
The next part that we're going to discuss is student schedules. So the day still starts at 7:20 for the middle school, except what will happen is at 7:20, that's when buses will arrive. 7:40 will be when parents can drop off at door 22 again in the north lot. All students will go immediately to their homeroom, to their first period class, following their schedule, where teachers know that they'll welcome them and we'll do lunch count, but they'll also have time to do some community circle and check-in. We are very concerned that students are going to have some anxieties or have missed much of school and wanted to get settled back in, so we've made arrangements not to start first period till 8 o'clock, allowing everyone to come in, not feel rushed, and have teachers check in on all of our students, because we know that's going to be vital. And then we're going to be in pods. We're calling them pods. As you know, the middle school is divided into 2 teams, Thunder and Lightning. And in that, we each of the grade levels also have teams. Half a team will be considered a pod, and so your son or daughter will be in a pod of no more than 60 students, and they will stay with those 60 students throughout their time for the fall. Courses are the same. You know, you'll have your 4 core courses and load. You'll have electives. The difference there is elective teachers will come to the classroom. Again, we're trying to limit the amount of time we're in the hall and limit the amount of time that students have interacting with other students to be as safe as we possibly can. So again, we'll be in pods. You'll hear that word a lot, and that will be driven by the teams that they're in and the house that they're on.
At Eastridge, we're going to keep almost the same schedule that we've had in the past with 42-minute periods. We wanted to make sure that every kid could take the courses that they were going to be registered for anyways. which that means that some students are taking very particular specials. We may only offer it to 20 kids because it's very particular, especially in the upper grades in junior and senior years. So that was really important in our decision making. So where you heard about the middle school having pods, we're not having pods. But we will be able to offer all the courses to the kids, whether they are in school or they're at home, or when they're partially at home and partially in school. Kids will be coming for 2 days, and then another set of kids will be coming for 2 days. When the kids are at home, they're going to be beaming into the classes, and you'll hear more about that in another part of these films. But to help parents know which days they are in school and which days they are not, we're assigning them to one of 2 groups, and we're organizing that by family units or household units. So the middle school and the high school will actually match each other, so that if you have a middle school student and a high school student, they will be home on the same days, or they will be in school on the same days, to make it easier for parents. We're going to send from the high school a color-coded thing where they're either in a purple group or a yellow group. So if you look and you know your kid's in the yellow group, if it's yellow, that's the day they're in school. We'll take care of them when they get here. We'll get them through their classes, but make sure they're here on the correct day. We haven't broken those up at the time that we're making this film, but we're going to get this out to you pretty quickly, sometime in probably the middle of August, so you can start planning ahead.
Our next section is the safety. I just want to follow up and let you know that what Mr. Hafey talked about is we're following the same type of schedule A, B, C, D, and you'll also get color-coded calendars from the middle school. As we talk about safety, please know that no student will be able to use our lockers. Unfortunately, they're far too close, and we don't have enough of them to prevent any kind of transmission, or kids love to hang out around their lockers, so we want to be safe and know that that can't happen. So backpacks will be allowed, which is different at the middle school than it has been in the past. So make sure that they have a backpack. To begin school, all lunches will be in the classrooms with their teachers. The cafeteria is not large enough for us to section it off in a safe way, so we want to make sure that everyone knows they'll be eating in the classrooms. There'll be lunch stations. Class by class will go out to that lunch station, and they'll be able to get their lunch and do that. Please know, though, there won't be the kind of things like snacks and ice cream. Lunches will be very particular. I think things that they can put out easily to students, so make sure that you know that part. And we're also encouraging you, please, to go online, make sure your student has money on their account. We want to limit the amount of cash that we have to deal with while we're in school. Changing of classes will happen in the pods, and that pod will change class in that part of the building when no one else is changing classes. We'll have deferred times for the different houses. Water bottles are allowed. In fact, I believe the district will be furnishing you one, so make sure that we stay hydrated. We have brand new faucets where you can put your water bottle under there and get that clean filtered water, so that's exciting. As visitors come into, or as a parent and you need to come into the building, there'll be a check-in. You'll have also a health check questionnaire that you need to fill out, and you'll be signing in at security just as you have in the past. And of course, everyone needs to wear a mask all the time, so as parents and visitors come in, they need to make sure that they're wearing those masks also. There will be time, we're going to encourage our teachers to have mask breaks. Those will be encouraged, but also anytime a student or a class teacher feels that they can, we're going to encourage the use of the outdoor space. We have lovely fields and we have a lot of them, so we want to make sure that during that good weather we get a lot of natural sunlight, but also a lot of natural air.
Similar to the middle school, we are not issuing student lockers this year. We are going to be moving between classes, and we need to make sure that students can move through every passageway or hallway very, very quickly. Students stopping at lockers will stop that from happening. So for safety and making sure that people can move quickly, no lockers this year, which means kids will be carrying like a jacket in their backpacks and those types of things. Luckily, because a lot of our reading materials and those types of things have gone online, they have less textbooks than they would have 10 years ago. So backpacks tend to be lighter now than they used to be. So I think this is a good transition for us anyways. We are going to be marking up our hallways. Some hallways will be one way, some will be two ways, but we're going to be marking them to what side of the hallway to be on. And that's to keep traffic moving. We don't want kids stopping and hanging out between classes. We want them to move pretty quickly and just keep moving in the same direction. To help out with this, we're having sidewalks built through our courtyard, temporary ones anyways. We're also going to be using our library. If you're familiar with the high school, the library has classrooms attached to it. Kids who are in those classes will exit into the library, while kids entering those rooms will come from the hallways. All this is basically to expand where people are while they're passing, so they're near each other less. If it's during a class and the student has to go to an office or a bathroom or something like that, we're not going to make them go walk all the way around in a one-way hallway, because probably nobody will be out there. But during passing time, the one-way hallways and the arrows do have to be followed. Similar to the middle school, we're going to be supplying some water bottles. They're putting water bottle stations in. We don't want anybody using a water fountain, but there will be places to fill bottles so that they can use those, and those are not to be shared. Students at the high school will be eating in the cafeteria. There's a chance we may have to use for one or two of the lunches some other space to spread kids out, but right now we think with the numbers that we're going to be dealing with that we can put 2 kids at every table. They're round tables. We'll assign exactly where they sit at the table so that they can be wiped down quickly afterwards. Students will pick up their lunches on the way in. This is very important. We're going to ask kids to space out. We're actually going to have 6-foot markers on the floor. It's going to take a little while for them to pick up their food, but just like at the middle school, they're pre-packaged lunches. They just pick up their pre-packaged lunch. There might be a choice of 1 or 2, but that's it. And you pick it up and you go and you sit. So while they're sitting, they don't have to have masks on, but all the other time they have to have masks on. If a kid gets up to throw out a tray, he has to put a mask back on until he goes back and sits at the table while he's eating. And just like at the middle school, if there are visitors coming in, they have to do a health screening, they have to wear masks. So a few things to remember as we go through everything. Masks are mandatory for safety. 6-foot distancing is really, really important, and we'll do this in classrooms and other places. And as they're passing through hallways where they will be closer sometimes than 6 feet, we want them to move in the same direction very, very quickly so that everybody can stay healthy and safe.
And let's now talk about the end of the day. So dismissal. Dismissal will happen around 2:15 as we have in the past. Again, our times are not changing. Buses, our students who ride buses will dismiss first. They will dismiss by bus. So the first bus that comes in, we'll call the kids down, get them on as soon as we can. And then what we're asking is that for parent pickup, it not start till 2:30, and that you try to limit the amount of time that you sit in our parking lot and come at 2:30. That's when we will dismiss both students who walk to school, but also students then that get picked up by you as a parent. It's a little later, but we're thinking the safety, everything we've done is based around safety for your child. And so we're not looking to inconvenience anyone, but we certainly are putting safety first. That's why we're asking parents to not pick up until 2:30. Staying after school will be a little different. Obviously, we're working on what clubs can function. We know that sports are delayed until at least this point to the end of September, so we won't have that after school. But if a student needs to see a teacher, they're going to need to make an appointment ahead of time so that we can manage the late bus. Because obviously you know that there's only so many people that can be on a bus, and we have to come up with a system to make sure that your son or daughter is safe on the bus, even if they stay after school. So again, teachers will have a system in which you can sign up and stay. We're not saying you can't get extra help, it'll just be a much more planned event than it has been in the past at the middle school.
And the high school practices are similar. We're going to dismiss over the intercom. We've never done this before, so we're going to dismiss by a part of the alphabet. And the reason for that is we don't want kids congregating in lines trying to get on buses. So about every minute we'll send a different part of the alphabet out, and we'll rotate around who goes first each day. And that's just to get kids into the hallways and out to the buses quickly. Many kids will actually go out to the parking lot. We're going to ask that if you're picking up your child, don't be late. We will want you there by 2:25. You can park in the outer part of the parking lot and wait for your child. You can always call them, text them, let them know where you are starting after 2:18 so that they know where to go. If the students are staying after school, similar to the middle school, there'll be a sign-up system, and students will be able to ride the late bus home, but they're going to be assigned seats on the late bus, so we have to know where they are in case we have to do contact tracing later, and that's why the sign-up system is really, really important. Just take some organization we haven't done before. Speaking of the parking lots, we are going to expand student parking this year. We've had students had to qualify attendance and grades and stuff like that. We're still going to have some of that, but we're going to expand it to more students this year. We're hoping that if more students can drive, less students will have to be on the buses, and it will help things with safety and the COVID environment that we're in right now. You'll be getting a mailing about that from one of our assistant principals, and that'll be coming out in late August. So juniors and seniors, be looking for that in the mail.
We've been quiet through July because we've been waiting to see where and what we need to do to make sure school is safe and that our learning continues. We will be obviously much more active with our information. This is the beginning of letting you know how things are going to work. There'll be newsletters, there'll be other contacts, talking points, and both Mr. Hafey and I look forward to making sure that you are aware of all of the things that need to happen, and we've been taking our time to make sure work for the start of school.
And if I've learned anything since last March, it's things are fluid, things will change. So we'll continue to communicate as new processes, because we'll try some of these out, and some of these we'll have to alter as things go on. We'll always let you know if things are changing and what's going on. We want to make sure the first and most important thing is that your children, our staff, everybody here is safe when they come in the building, as safe as we can possibly make it, while we're creating an educationally rich environment where your kids are going to thrive.
Go Lancers.